Munich is famous around the world for many reasons. Bayern Munich football team, BMW, Oktoberfest. But in the world of TV, it's also famous for being the home of this week's guest, Ruediger Boess. Known for decades as ProSieben's man in Hollywood, Rudi is the buyer's buyer, the man who brought the biggest movies and TV series to Germany before becoming a movie producer himself. We talked about his amazing career, giving Dana Walden the authentic Ruediger experience, how streaming has really changed everything, and why he made one studio's blacklist. Enjoy. Hi, Rudi. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Danny. Hello.
Good to see you. I always like to start with a fun question to get the creative juices flowing.
First of all, I have to say you chased me a long time, but I do it because I owe you a favor, and also Thomas Lasatzik. So he pushed me to. So I did it because of them and of you, of course. So.
Okay, very good. Well, not for the first time. I owe Thomas one, so I will. But I bought him a drink last week, so
yeah, thank you. Very good.
I hope I've made some small contribution to pay back. And talking of drinking, I thought I would structure that fun, creative question around something that involves quite a lot of drinking, which is Oktoberfest, which is a Munich highlight that you've hosted a big event at for many years. But if you could host a more intimate table at Oktoberfest with three people that you've come across during your career, who would you choose to invite?
Okay, so Oktoberfest, you go with tables with at least 10 people. Okay, so but we do a smaller one. Okay, October, this is a difficult question. There are so many people I love and would invite, and a lot of people who drink more than me. But I would choose, of course, I had to choose Georg Kofler, because he was my first boss and he hired me. And he also gave me the job and a lot of opportunities. So I owe him a lot. And Georg Kofler would be there. And he's a good drinker. He's from North Italian, South Tyrol, so he can drink. Then I think a good friend of us has to join Sophie Turner-Lang. Sophie is amazing. She was a queen of TV when TV was really a kingdom, and she's amazing, and she's a wonderful friend, and so she has to be there, and she can party. And she can also stay at the table. So and then he is a better wine drinker, honestly, but he is also good in beer, and he always enjoyed Oktoberfest. And we had a bumpy relationship in the beginning, but then we became very good friends and still are very good friends. Mark Kahner. So these three, I would say, have to sit at my table and drink a lot of beer.
Okay, well that sounds like a fun and very high-powered table. Were you a big film and TV fan growing up? And how did you get your start in the TV business?
Yes, because the best friends of my parents, they had a couple of cinemas. So I was very early involved and, so to say, employed. Because at 6 years I were to cut up the tickets, and so I was very early on in cinemas and watched many movies, Star Wars at least 20 times. So that was, I think, the beginning of all of it, and I always loved movies. Series came later, but movies I always loved since I really grew up.
And how did you get your start in the TV business?
In the TV business, so I made a classic school and everything. So, and then I started with journalism. So I was a journalist and writing for a newspaper after all the things, volontariat and such a things. And then I wrote for a newspaper in my hometown in Germany. And the publisher became also then involved in radio when private radio stations opened. in Bavaria and in Germany. And so we were some of the first ones. He was involved in that radio called Radio Ramassuri, which is a kind of a Bavarian word for a little bit crazy. And we did a radio. And also because at the beginning it was very easy. We were 20 people and you can not do what you want, but you can explore a couple of things. And so I had also a weekly program, cinema. So I talked about cinema, about new films, what's going on in the industry. And so that was always my thing. And after that, they changed, thank God for me, in the end, they changed the music. Because it was in the beginning, it was pop and soul and rock. And they changed it more to a German kind of music. And so I said, I cannot do that. I had to quit because I had to, mostly I had the morning show and I was to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 4:30. And so I had to say why, and then hearing German music, I can't. So I quit, and then I said TV and something which has something to do with cinema in the end, or movies. And so there was at that time a new channel in the ProSieben group. It's called Cable One. And they were searching for a programming guy. And so in the end, they made a big mistake and hired me. And it was, and so the first couple of weeks at Cable One, which was 1993. So yes, I'm old. So I was the first couple of weeks I was at Cable One, which was a subsidiary of ProSieben. And they had only old movies, classic channel. So it was really great, old Western and Quo Vadis. And so it was great. And you had to program it. It was fun. There was a big catalog we can have a hold on. And so I did that a couple of weeks. And then they decided, Georg Hofler decided, there was at that time a new thing coming from America. They had these movies of the week. Let's say not cheap, but for a kind of not so big amount of money, TV movies. Put one star in it, like a TV kind of guy or a TV kind of girl, and I always said is it disease of the week, rape of the week, whatever, like these kind of things. And Georg said, you have to buy these kind of things. You have to do that. And I had no clue, because I never was involved in these kind of movies and I barely don't watch it. But then I said, okay. And so I get into this acquisition business, and that was the start of it. Yeah.
And can you remember the first package that you bought?
Yes. One of the first titles we showed, it's in German, Racheengel in Leder, which means a bad angel, a dark angel in leather. A revenge lady in leather. So I would say, yeah, Racheengel in Leder. It was a big success, over 4 million viewers. And so we had a lot of TV movies. Look, they were cheap to buy. And we had at least once a week, I think on a Wednesday, we had on ProSieben the movie of the week.
So you talk about your love of movies. Why have US movies always worked so well in Germany?
Honestly, I think storytelling is, and it is also now. The Americans, they sometimes they don't know what to do, but in the entertainment business, they know. And so they can tell a story. They have no problem to push the button. So to say, you want to cry, you want to laugh, to get the emotion. And the Americans are really the best one to bring it out, because they say, oh, why not? In Germany, you would say, no, we cannot do it. It's too much. Or we have to what is the message of the movie? Fuck it. It's not always needs a message. We need to be entertained, and in times like this as well. So movies are still working also when we begin in the cinema. Okay, we had Corona and the box office is not up there. like before, but it's 2/3, let's say, or 70 to 80% now. The German movies are getting better and the storytelling is getting better, but still, when you want to see, think about a movie I saw 2 weeks ago, Wuthering Heights. Amazing. So they can make movies at that kind. The Germans would never have done a movie like Wuthering Heights, yeah, where you see every day the two main actors, they have a red T-shirt contest every day because it's a great, it's really, we would not do that. In our version, there had to be a message. There is also a message in this movie, but they made it better. So this is, I think, why it's still working. Movies are still working on TV, also on free TV. The other thing which is over is series, honestly. Series are no longer working on free TV.
And why is that, do you think?
I think that was one of the biggest mistake I realized too late. So I made that mistake. Streaming. Streaming came up and we had first of all, we had all the series, but we are not, and that's, I have to blame the Hollywood studios for it, honestly, you as well, because you never give up the rights for it. We had Maxdome, which was way before streaming was invented by Netflix. So we had the first streamer, but we never got the rights because they said it's an extra right. Okay, you have to pay extra, a lot of money where we didn't have it, and it was a starting business. It was a startup, it was not growing fast. And the Germans also intend not to pay for it in the beginning. That changed a lot, but in the beginning, pay TV was not a success in Germany or a big success except of sports. So and we cannot pay it. And you said, no, then you have no rights. And then maybe you get another right, but only for 4 weeks. Think about a series like Lost. It's called binge watching. Netflix invented it, and we were never able to do it because they said, no, you can have the one episode for 4 weeks, but then it has to go off the air, which is, of course, not possible. So they gave us a hard time, and the others, they got invited, and so Netflix took over the series business, and then others. And I was really furious when I realized that, of course, and you know me, sometimes I can be a little bit emotional, also with studios. And I was really, but we are not getting the rights. And then I realized too late, honestly, it is over. So Netflix took over. Netflix is much better. What they do here, they can do it. You can watch a movie or a series whenever you want, how long you want, how much episodes you want. So and we were not able to do that.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I have to take personal responsibility for all of this, but I do take the point. I guess it's good that you didn't say the quality had dropped, and so that's a positive thing for the creative community. But when I think about the creativity in series, it also brings a little question to my mind, which is if you could be a character in a US TV series, which one would you choose, and which type of character would you choose to be a Ruediger Boess character?
Yeah. Look, I read this question and I had to laugh because you know who would be the character, because you said to Thomas at one point, years later, I didn't have ever heard of it or realized it. I was at one point not mean, but say maybe a little bit mean to your Sony production bosses who did series. You know them? I think
I
they are
do.
still at Amazon. No, at Apple. I think they are Apple Tech and yeah. So I was a little bit, yeah. And they, years later, you told Thomas, and then we saw it, that they named a character after me in their Blacklist series. A very bad, ugly guy called Ruediger Maxwell or Maxwell Rudi or something like that. Or yeah. So thank you for that.
It was again nothing to do with me. I didn't even know about it till some
Look,
years
I
later.
got famous, through Blacklist. No, but honestly, if I had to choose, also a difficult question, but I would really go for a series I loved until the last episode of the first block. It was Game of Thrones. And there is a character in it, Tyrion Lannister, played by Peter Dinklage. And I think he was amazing and he was great. And he was sometimes also a little bit pushy, mean, never intriguant, no, because he said also what he wants to say. And he had one sentence I have to say. It's also, he said once, "That's what I do. I drink and I know things." Love it. So hopefully you can agree with that.
Oh, very good. So a Game of Thrones character may be a fellow traveler with Tyrion Lannister. Okay, I get it. Sounds good. Sounds good. Um, so German TV market in the 1990s, from what I can tell, because it was a little bit before my time, but dominated by local players like Kirch and maybe Telemunchen and one or two others. And so I guess there were some upsides and downsides of that. But then as that situation changed, I guess you were having to form direct relationships with the studios.
Yes, and not overnight, but nearly, because of course it was Kirch, was the biggest player in Germany. Tele München was a wannabe Kirch, but of course it was always Kirch. But then after the collapse of the empire, we had to buy the next day. We had to buy directly because we had, of course, directly relationships, but also, of course, with the big movie studios. Kirch has output deals for pay and free TV for a lot of years. And so it was easy for us to pick there and go there and say, we need that, and we have to take that. But then we got involved indirectly. But it was, I think, at that time, it was a new era. And also, I think the kind, and also Kirch and others, especially also others, this middleman thing collapsed as well. Why not? Because also the studios thought we can do the deal directly, because if we gave it to a middleman, he also charged money. So and that makes it not cheaper, but make it directly. So that changed, and so we got involved in that business, and we had to do it. And the point which was internally a difficult point, that was before. We had at ProSieben the structure, we had acquisition teams for series, and we had an acquisition team for movies. And the other one, that was by Rola Bauer, by the way, at one point. She was the series boss. And so we did it always, of course, combined, but directly and independently from the other department, because it was another thing. But then our bosses at one point said, no, this is stupid. We have to, of course, combine it. It's series and movies. It's from, of course, you go to Sony, and of course, you get movies and series. And at that point, they said to me, you have to do it. And I said no, because I had no clue about series. I was watching series like Dallas or Denver Clan. It was my first series at home. But I never was really interested in series, honestly. But it was not like in the movie The Devil Wears Prada. It's not a discussion. You have to do it. So I ended up doing both, but thank God I was not alone. We had a great, and there is a great acquisition team at ProSieben, and the most of the people are still there. Yeah.
So you were described as ProSieben's man in Hollywood. Can you remember your first LA screenings, and how did that event change over your years at the company?
Man of Hollywood is, but it is, in the beginning, of course, the first time I was just I was something like a visitor, because of course everybody else is doing business, and was just watching series and saying what came up to my mind. So my Kofler always said, what do you think about it? Da, 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 da. So it was very easy for me. I can complain, I can do this, I can make question marks, be kind of a couple of things. But that was the beginning. But of course it changed, and then we have to took over negotiations. And now LA screenings, it changed over that. Look, I think when I first met, went, I think there were 2,000 people there the whole week, so it was a big thing. And also, it was the golden times of TV, which means you had really big parties. And I think I will, and you will also remember when Chef Schlesinger came with an elephant to the screening. So, and he was the elephant, not only in the room, in the whole, on the whole pocket. But so it changed a little bit. We are still going, thank God, because we love this week in LA. Good weather, good food, nice people, a lot to watch. It's a lot to watch. It changed also because many things you cannot buy any longer, because the studios they work smart. They showing, of course, now more international stuff. They maybe have rights. Let's say CBS have Australian series, so they can show it, and we have also access to that. So that business changed, and of course, not so many people come anymore. I think maybe there are now 500, 800. And you see the studios. When we planned the studios last week, normally Warner had, for instance, they had 1 week screenings, 5 days. They cut it down to 2 because there are not so many people anymore. It's becoming very expensive, not only to buy these kind of things, but also to be there, to travel. America, it's becoming very expensive, as you know, food and everything. So you think about it. I'm going again, is it worth it? Is it not? But I would say if it's possible, still it's worth it. It's one of the favorite weeks in business, and it still is. I'm not sure how long it will it last, because when everybody goes to streamers on the series side, why? And you can also watch it then directly or get a link or something. But the personal feeling, it's like a class reunion every year, and you see many people and you talk about many things. So it's still a great gathering. Hopefully we can do it a couple of years more.
Hopefully there'll be enough studios
Yeah,
around to last for a week,
yeah.
um, depending on the regulators in the US. How do you think your exuberant personality was received in Hollywood over the years?
But what my personality?
Your exuberance and your straight talking approach to things.
Now, yeah, okay. Look, Danny, we had a couple of fights. Look, I think I know Americans and many others. I would always say, oh, first of all, they start and say, it's amazing. It's the best I saw in years. It's so good. I can love it. I want to see it again. Fuck it. They do it after half an hour. They say, but by the way, and then, and then, and then, and then. Spare this half hour. Come to the point easily. Okay, I know I was sometimes too hard and too pushy, and now look, I'm old. I'm hopefully getting better. But yeah, I know. But in the end, honestly, there were a couple of seasons, okay, it was over the top. But in the end, they liked me also for that, because I was really able to do it. Hopefully not in a very bad or mean way. But look, for Mark Hainer always said, Rudi, when we had lunch on the lot for the screening day, you have to sit next to Dana Walton. And not what because I want to, because I have to, because that's my job. And you have to say to her what you said to me exactly the same way. This is shitty. I don't get it. What is this? Why you do it? It's not for the international market, blah, blah, blah. And Dana really it was not easy, because of course she was shocked as well. But on the other side, she always and still says it is great, because you know exactly what it is. You don't make a theater before and afterwards.
Very good. I think that would have been nice to be on a fly on the wall on that in that screening as well. Um, in 2007, ProSieben bought the SBS broadcasting operations with channels and VOD services in the Netherlands, Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, and you took over or were given responsibility for overseeing acquisitions across the group. Did you relish the chance to learn about new markets, and how did you find the experience of working with new people as well as dealing with existing partners, but in a new context?
Also a good question. Yeah, that was a tough time because really from one day to another we were told we're buying SBS. But in the beginning also we were of course we were working together, but it was separate. And that was fine for me. And also we always said, and I still believe that it's of course it's changed, it's better now. But in the beginning it was really like these kind of what you gain or what you can spare money, because if you buy for the whole group, make it easier. Not necessarily, because they have a different taste, they need different things. The structure of a deal is from every country to every country different. And especially my feeling is it in Europe. The culture is different. The culture, there is culture. Not many in, maybe not in longer in America, but sorry. But no, but you know what I mean. So you have a different, in Denmark, it's different than in Sweden. And you would say, from a territory perspective, it's Scandi. It is, no, it's not. So in the beginning, that was a little bit tough. And I remember the day when Guillaume de Poche, he was my boss at that time, came into my office and said, Rudi, you have now also to do the SBS stuff. You have to buy for them as well. And I said, when? We programmed 6 or 7 channels already and buy for it. So when should I do it? And he said, in the afternoon, buy a map. That was it. It was fun, honestly, because there were exceptional people working there. They also love what they do, and they fight for it. And I think we had a Roseanne from the Netherlands. Oh my God, in the beginning, she was shouting at me. But we get along, and still we are all friends. And I saw a couple of them last week. Nina, Tina, Katrina, you know them all, and they are great. And we had a lot of fun together. But honestly, also I have to say again, I did all the schmoozy things and and a couple of negotiations. But the real guy behind the whole thing, he has to work, was Thomas Lazatzik. He was a ladies' man, so to say. There were only ladies, I think. Yeah, there were only ladies. Yeah.
It's interesting what you say about everything being different across different countries, because obviously ProSieben now is part of a sort of bigger Italian operation. So
Right.
I guess it'd be interesting to see how that plays out, having ProSieben having been down that road before.
And one thing you really have to say about can say many things, good things about streaming, but honestly, they made up. They opened the door, they opened the window for all the people to watch international shows. We were so dependent, and but we had to, because it was really the main entertainment thing, buying stuff from America, from the studios, or also from independent producers, but origin is American. It is no longer the case. Think about Spanish dramas. They travel internationally. That was really like Elite. Think about that. It is an international phenomenon, and it was made by Netflix. It's dubbed. In former times, no, we cannot dub it. Think about it. Fuck it. Now it's dubbed, and you can watch it everywhere in the world, and that is really great. And that gives us also a view to other cultures, and we embrace it now. And I think that is really very, very good. It's changing, of course, and series for free TV, that's really my feeling, are dead. And when I see, and I still see the ratings every day, and when you see the numbers, it's really a very tough business. So hopefully the Italians, I think they know what they did. Look, they are not buying something for billions and then whatever. So they will, of course, but you have to change the business. It's always that case, and they also have to change it. And when you see internationally, when you see Europe stuff, when you think about British TV, I saw it last week. Come on, at 8 o'clock on 6 channels, it's a very educational, so to say, diplomatic program. Entertainment is nothing. At 8 o'clock, prime time. In France and also in Italy, they have big news shows and then talk shows to combine it. And then this is an interesting concept. We don't have it in Germany. ARD tried last year. They not tried. They just said maybe they should make the news show in the evening half an hour. It was no, 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 no. After 8:15, entertainment has to start. But I think this will also be changing because, and that's a good thing about also TV, they will not die because news, these kind of things, if it's good made and made in a democratic way, so to say, it will, and you see what's going on in the world every day right now. The people are very interested in get news, and TV can deliver immediately, better than any other medium. So live TV, and so this is a chance, and they hopefully have to take it.
Yeah, it feels like news and sport are two of the big differentiators now
Yeah.
for live linear TV. You talked about SBS and you talked about Thomas. You've always surrounded yourself with very good executives. Is that the secret of great leadership? Surrounding yourself with really great people?
Leadership. I'm not leadership. I had the privilege. I had the best. Yeah, I had the best people, and it was in the team of 30 people or more. But they were all individuals, and you let them be individuals. And of course, I always say, okay, there are some things we have to do. Numbers, da 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 da. I'm not a big fan of that kind of things, but you have to do it. It is part of the business, you get money for it. But on the other side, you have to give everybody one thing, at least one thing, or hopefully more, which is like a hobby for him. So he loves or she loves to do it. And if that combined, so you have to do, but also it's kind of a thing you want to do, then it's a perfect description of a job. And we had the privilege, and look, movies, series, it's come on, we had the golden times, and still it's not golden anymore, but it is, of course, it's still a privilege to be working in that business.
In 2018, you joined Constantine Film as a movie producer. What inspired you to change career direction?
That change career was really, there were two reasons. One reason, and the main reason, honestly, was I realized, and I realized very late, that the good times are over for buying TV shows. We were no longer in the pool position. In former times, there was a red carpet. Now they say, go in line somewhere because Amazon and Netflix and all the others are bigger, better, and on the first place. So I realized that they're very late, but I thought when I saw the numbers every day from all these shows, and I said, why it's not working again? Of course, it was somewhere else, everywhere, for binging. So I said, there's no longer the fun factor is missing on that. And then one of my bosses, he always said, now come on, it will get better, and da 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 da, and stated Konrad Albert. But he said, no, and I said, look, it's not getting better, first of all. And then we had at that time a big mistake. We had a boss which was really an asshole. And I say it officially, he can sue me. And he was a guy, and he wanted to make the business completely new, and he cracked it. And ProSieben would be dead if they would not have fired him 2 years later. It was a nightmare. But I decide, I survived, 10 bosses. And it was always great. And I get always along. But with this guy, I must say, he was nearly to ruin the company. And I said, I cannot watch it, honestly. I cannot watch it. And that's why the case I decided I have to go. It was not easy in the beginning. It was not easy in the end, because at one point, Conrad said, maybe I let you go, but you have to do 2 more deals. So I did the deals. I worked until the last day. I left the desk empty. It was not easy also then for of course, my acquisition people, but they are doing now a great job, and they did it then a great job. But that was, of course, a little bit of a time. And then I decided, what should I do? And there were a couple of possibilities, and one of the first one was Constantine Film. They called me and said, you come to us. And I said, why? What should I do there? Because I also was not sure, and they had a great guy then at the time, a great lady at the time, and then a great guy who did acquisition for Constantine. So that was not my field anymore. So I said, what should I do? And they said, that was Martin Moskowitz, and said, you're producing movies. And I said, I have never done it, and I'm not sure if I'm capable of it. And he said, you will learn it. So I started at Constantine. And it was not a mistake.
Very good. Looking back, what would be the biggest lesson from your career that you would pass on to your younger self?
Yeah, get more relaxed sometimes, maybe. And then also you have to hear to great leaders. Guillaume de Poche once said, the better deals are sometimes the one you didn't do. So this is also something I learned. So you learn a lot in the career. And I would say calm, but honestly, it always was not always fun, and it was tough as well. And we had a lot of responsibility. Think about, we at one point, I thought we spent more than $1 billion a year, my department, $1 billion a year for content. And we had great responsibilities, and hopefully we did it in a very good way. But it is changing. And now, if I would be 20 years older, I'm not sure if I would go the same road. Of course, you cannot go the same road. It's blocked or it's kaput. So it is difficult, but and always get surrounded by a great team, because alone you're nothing. A team which makes it in good and bad times, honestly.
And finally, if you were asked to schedule an evening of programming on ProSieben made up of the films and series that you'd acquired or produced over your career, which 3 would you choose?
There are so many. We bought so many movies. Okay, one of the biggest success, and I was not in the beginning, I said to Kofler, really? We have to buy it. We buy it, but where you will program it. And he said, no, you're in Access Prime. And I said, it will be okay. It was Simpsons. So I think we have to have Simpsons. At one point, they changed the yellow. It was a big thing for ProSieben. But when you see now even older episodes, you watch it because it's funny. It's up to the point. It's great. Simpsons, a little bit of Simpsons, I think that should be. Then we bought at one point one series in the beginning, because I was with a colleague, Karin Schockweiler, and we saw the pilot and we said we have to buy it. And then all my bosses and everybody from our channel said no, we don't be interested. It was Sex and the City. Yeah, finally because we bought it, and then nobody showed it on our channels. And so I called Gerhard Zeiler from RTL, and said, Gerhard, do you want Sex and the City? Because I have it, but they don't want to show it. He said, Imber, give it immediately. I sent the contract. And then, of course, they wake up in my company and said, no, we do it. And then I forced them. But then you have to do it in prime time, not late night, whatever. And so they showed it at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So Sex and the City has all to be on the menu. And then on the movie side, oh my God. Now I have to say, because I'm really proud of, I'm not the best producer ever. But there was one movie which was really a very good one, September 5, and we had it last year, and it was also nominated for an Oscar. So I think September 5 it has to be. Yes.
Well, it sounds like a fun evening, very mixed, going for
A
different types.
mixture. Yes, it's a mixture.
But that makes a great schedule. Well, Ruediger Boess, thanks so much for being a guest on Here Comes Pod. It was as entertaining as I thought it was going to be, and rather than an Oktoberfest, it was a Rudy Fest. So
So
thank you very
next
much.
time when you come to Munich, Thomas and I, we invite you to Oktoberfest. And you don't have to wear a dirndl or lederhosen. It goes without, okay?
Okay, I will very much look forward to that, dressed up or not.
Okay.
So fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.